Welcome YouTube, this is Emperor Dion. Today's video is going to be an important video because we all know that there's a lot of issues with being a non-conforming black man, and many alternative type black men have come out and made videos talking about this issue in particular, how if you don't fit into the broader black American culture that you're going to get ostracized, bullied, pushed away, various things like this. I've been through it too, but many of them have came out on YouTube and expressed this sentiment, talked about it from their perspective. And there's this one guy recently named Sloth, YouTube channel named Sloth. He made an excellent video breaking down his experience with this, and it largely lines up with what I've also experienced and what a lot of black guys that have gone through this type of thing have experienced, where they just don't fit into the wider culture, so they're going to get treated a certain way. And so he made an excellent video. It blew up. It got, as of right now, I think 60,000 views, which is crazy for a channel his size. I think he only uploaded like 3 videos, and this is one of them. So he obviously made this video, and it blew up. And once you get a video that blows up, of course, you're going to get people reacting to it inevitably. And I'm going to focus in on one such individual who reacted to it. And so that's what we're largely going to be debunking, one of these reactors that came onto that video, in my video, because I've got quite a lot to say about this, because I'm passionate about it. Obviously, that's my position in the world too, being a black man that doesn't quite fit in. So let's get right into this. So this guy that reacted to this video, his name is Young Don Reacts. He's another black dude with a reaction channel, pretty much. You know the type. You've seen these guys. They've been around YouTube for a long ass time. This one in particular, though, he's a light-skinned Tyrone. It's very important to note that about him, because much of what he says is going to play right into that fact that he's a light-skinned Tyrone, pretty much. And you see it as soon as you look at him. Like he obviously ain't got no type of experience with what this young man was talking about. He obviously can't relate. He says it flat out in the beginning of the video that he doesn't relate. Okay, so you're just a light-skinned Thug Max Tyrone. Obviously, you're not going to relate. You're actually part of the dang on problem that a lot of these guys are going to speak to, where they don't feel like they're included and where they get basically grieved and bullied for no reason. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves here. I'm just going to go through, like, only half of his points are going to get debunked in this video, because I only went up to half of the video, but he says so much bullshit in just the first half of this video that there's going to be a lot here. There's going to be a lot here, and I actually made a list of points to debunk specifically. I'm taking this a bit seriously, so here we go. So point number 1, the first thing this guy tries to come at him with, he basically says something along the lines of, well, you only get called an Uncle Tom or being a coon for being anti-black. If you express being anti-black, that's what those kind of insults come out. Let me tell you right now, that is a crock of shit. You would get called an Uncle Tom, a coon, all this shit for much. You don't have to be anti-black to get called that. Trust me. I remember when I was in school, all I did, like, I didn't really used to hang out with the white kids per se, but all I did was I came to school wearing some fucking DCs. You know what DCs are? Those skateboard shoes, those skater boy shoes. They were really popular with the white kids or whatever. But it's like, dude, there's some nice looking shoes, especially the ones I had. They went well with a lot of the outfits I wore. And all I did was wore some fucking DCs. You want to know what the black kids at my school did? Oh, they called me straight away Uncle Tom, coon, sellout, this and well, actually, you know what? It's not even like I was selling out, because I didn't even really get accepted by them in the first place. But they came out with the daggers pretty much just from the apparel that I'm wearing, dude. And I didn't go to school dressed up like no slouch. I used to go to school pretty well dressed up, but okay. I ain't got no Jordans on. I ain't got stereotypical black brands on, which in of itself is a stupid notion. Like, why are these brands black and why are these brands white? Like, why don't you just craft an outfit that looks good on you and just, well, why is it that accepted for what it is? Like, see, that's a very common thing in the black community, that you will not get accepted if you don't wear certain brands. You won't get accepted if you don't wear a certain style with the brand. And it's just like this. That's all it takes for the threshold for you to get labeled an Uncle Tom or a coon or shit like this. But this Don Reacts guy made the stupid argument that you only get labeled that way if you're anti-black. That's not true. That's not true. And you know what? Me being treated that way too is why I kind of became anti-black later on in life after having experiences like this various times, you know? But we're getting ahead of ourselves because this is going to be related to a point I'm going to make later. Point number 2. He claims that not liking black music is in of itself anti-black. Now, this is such a retarded thing to say, guys, because, like, okay, you know what kind of music that black folks listen to? Rap, R&B, hip-hop, I mean, back in the day, you could say soul music too. Like, a lot of that stuff, like Al Green, up to like 50 Cent, and then past there to freaking NBA Youngboy and all that. You know what the hell I'm talking about when I say black music, okay? And for you to say that not liking that is anti-black, and Young Don does say this, by the way. He says something along the lines of like, oh, you don't necessarily hate that kind of music unless you specifically trying to be anti-black. Well, no, that's not true. Most black music does tend to have a typical kind of theme to it, you know, like they tend to sing and dance to things that are very superficial, related to your superficiality, your wealth, your status symbols, what you own, love, affection, relationships, getting girls, this type of thing. There's a whole lexicon of things that black music tends to focus on. You know what the hell I'm talking about, by the way. There tends to be a theme to black music. And if you don't like that theme, then yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable that you might not like black music. And like, there's some black people who may feel that way genuinely. Now, I felt that way genuinely about most black music. A lot of those themes, I don't relate to those themes. I relate to other types of things, okay? But there's some black music that I definitely do like. Not gonna lie with you, but like there's an overall theme to it. And if you don't like that theme, then why does that make you anti-black just for not liking? That is a stupid argument, guys. But Don literally said this shit. Now here's what I really want to focus on. Point number 3. He says that black on black bullying is not anti-black racism, or it's not racism when black people bully other black people. This is a massive fallacy. This is going to be short and sweet how I'm going to debunk this. So the reason why it totally is racism when black people bully other black people is because the reasons you get bullied, this is very, very important. The reason you get bullied is because you're quote unquote weird or something. It's usually related to you don't fit in, which is what the original guy Sloth was talking about in this video, right? Well, what about a white person that doesn't fit in? What about a Mexican person that doesn't fit in? What about an Asian person that doesn't fit in, you know? You see, like, other communities don't come at their own people just for being weird in the same way that black people do. No, the only reason that black people have any smoke about people being weird is because they're black. Because they're not going to come at white people who don't fit in with white people. They're not going to come at anybody else other than you. It's based on race. If you were any other race, they wouldn't come at you. So yes, it actually kind of is low-key racist, if you want to call it that, for black on black bullying, basically. And there's no point to it. You're just bringing down people who look like you in the first place. There's no point to it. It's stupid. You're really hurting yourself when you bully somebody else that's black. Like, and it is based on race too, as to why it happens, as I just explained. So that is also a stupid argument that Don made in this video. But that's going to be short and sweet. I hope you understand that, because there's not really much that needs to be explained there. You know it. I know it. If you weren't black, you wouldn't get bullied for being weird. That's just the point blank, honest to God truth about it. Point number 4. Now, he claims that because the Blackcels didn't like dressing up in these specific brands and in this specific way, he claims that the Blackcels didn't like looking good or something. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He doesn't like to look good just because he didn't dress the way that black people wanted him to dress. And by the way, they absolutely want you to dress a certain way, as I previously explained. Yeah, because if you don't dress that way, they're going to call you weird and bully you. And that's based on you being black. So, yes, they do want you to dress a certain way. Just because he didn't want to dress that certain way, Dion says, oh, well, you don't want to look good, man? Okay, well, like, look, I explained earlier how I used to come to school wearing DC's, right? The skater boy shoes. And I got picked on, but like those shoes looked good though. They looked good. They went well with my outfit. I didn't come to school dressed like a bum. Okay, so it's not even about looking good or not looking good. It's all about a lexicon of things that you're not conforming to. That's what black people will call you a coon for. That's what it is. That's what the fuck it is. Okay? Now, get it through your fucking head. So, throughout Sloth's video, he also mentions that growing up, he felt a lot more connected to the Mexican community because he, apparently his dad married a Mexican woman, so he got to be around Mexican people, Mexican family and whatnot, and he said that he felt much more connected to these people than he ever did to black people, and that's just entirely because of, again, the way he was treated. I've experienced this myself too. Various times you go around any other group of people, you know, they're not going to treat you the way black folks do. Obviously, I don't know why. I don't think it's justified that black people have this kind of smoke for you just off of initial rip, but this is what happens. But Don, he asked this question of why did he feel more connected with the Mexican family than he did with his black family? Well, again, it's pretty fucking obvious. It's because the Mexican family treated him with respect, gave him due respect from the outset. They didn't judge his appearance. They didn't call him gay. They didn't call him goofy. They didn't call him weird. They didn't call him a cornball just because he wasn't wearing a certain brand of clothes. They didn't do this. They more likely judged him off of his actual character as a person. They gave him a more fair judgment than black folks typically will. And again, this is a problem in the black community. Black folks need to do better in this regard. There's no fucking excuse why these guys, it's not even just guys, but there's a lot of black women I've heard speaking about they not feeling connected with black people too, you know? Like, this is a problem in the black community itself. And you know what, Don? I know you're not watching this video, but in case you do, you're part of the reason why guys like this exist. You don't understand his situation, and you want to sit here and gaslight him about all these points, but we're almost at the end of my points for this video. This is only half of the video, too, that I'm going to do here, by the way. I've got 9 points here. We're on point number 8, so let's go ahead, move on to point number 8. Point number 5. He comes out of left field off of some context clues that Sloth says in his video, and he, like, Sloth mentions that he moved around a lot, that he had to change schools a lot, this and that. Off of this context clue, Don kind of makes the assumption that, oh, his parents must be in the military as to why he moved around. Oh, well, no, that's not necessarily true. He could have just been one of those kids that have to move around because his parents need to switch jobs or whatever. That could have been the case, or it could have just been the case that he had an unstable family, so he's bouncing around from family to family like this. Like, a lot of black people go through shit like that, but even making the assumption that, okay, he's whitewashed because he had to move around a lot. Like, where does this assumption come from, dude? Like, I would say he's probably, quote-unquote, whitewashed, not because he had to move around a lot, but because he got bullied by black people. And that drove him over to other things where he didn't get bullied, pretty much. That's how it happened for me. That's how it happens for most. That's how it happens. Black people are the people who bully you. Therefore, you're going to be lulled into thinking that another group of people are going to be more accepting of you. And at face value, they are, by the way. At face value, they are. And this is a big problem in the black community. Black people really need to stop beating up on people who are just a little bit out of the norm. They really do. Because, it's, again, like I said, it's not hurting nobody else. It's just hurting us. It's hurting you. It's hurting all of us. Point number 6. There's this weird part where, for whatever reason, he throws shade at the guy for not liking black girls. Again, this is another thing I've got personal knowledge with, Pretty much, like, the reason why a lot of Blackcels don't like black women ain't because they just don't like them. Like, it wasn't just, oh, I don't like them because they're ugly. Oh, I just don't like black girls. I just like white girls. That's not what happened. What happened was I originally did like black girls. But then it's like, okay, well, black girls are the ones that, like, they always call me ugly. They always are the first ones picking on me. And not just picking on me, but going way out of their way to say some mean, horrible shit to you. And it's not just one-off situations where this happens. This is like a consistent thing that happens over and over and over as you grow up. And so when you've got reinforcement like that happening to you, this is not nothing that you did to cause that. This is just how it came at you right out of the gate. When that is your reality, there is a pretty high chance you are probably going to start not liking black women as a result of that. Okay, and that just is what it is. And it's not like it ever stops either, because this would happen again if I went around black women. I don't go around black women because now I'm an adult. I've got the power to influence and choose where I go. And I choose not to go around them because I know what they're going to treat me like. So this is a rational response to the bullying problem that seems to be the worst in the black community, more so than any other group of people. You see? So it's not, oh, I don't like black women. No, it's black women didn't like me, and I made the choice to separate myself for my own mental health. That is what it is. But for whatever reason, people like Dion is a Tyrone, dude. He's never been through an experience of not being desired in general by people, and not by your own people especially, because it seems like all these little social dynamics and all these little rules about how you look applies triple so within the black community. And so black people are gonna unjustly so just ostracize people off of these superficial things, and that's what it is. And like I said, this doesn't do black people any good to be like this, but this is how a lot of black folks are. I'm not saying black folks are the only people who do this. I'm saying black people are the ones who do this the most. And it's a big problem in the black community. It just sows division. It makes no sense for all these guys to feel like this. And it's mostly off of how black people have treated him. Okay? So, again, weird notion, just like point number 5. Point number 6, he's like, oh, you don't like black chicks. No, black chicks didn't like him. Okay? Get it through your fucking head. So, point number 8. This is a very, very important one, guys. Listen closely here. So, at one point, he goes off the roads and completely gaslights the guy. He's been gaslighting this whole video, but this point right here is one of the most profound gaslights that he does, where he basically says something along the lines of, oh, black women don't like you because you don't like them, or you think you got it in your head that black women don't like you, so of course they're not going to like you. You're going to manifest what you think is true, and it's going to be true. That is an extremely weak argument, man. So you're saying just because you believe that you're going to get rich, that you're just going to get rich? You're believing that you're saying a person with cancer is going to get cured of cancer if they stop believing that they have cancer? Are you saying that you can go out here and delude yourself into success? Because that's not at all the case. That is not at all the case. He didn't believe first that he couldn't get black women. He had black women show him enough times that they feel a certain way about him. And so when you've had that happen a certain amount of times, you've just got to take it as a fact at that point. That is what happened. This is what they profess to you directly to your face, that they don't like you. They've treated you this way for so long. Okay, so at what point are you going to start believing them? If somebody tells you that they're a damn fool, you believe them. You don't sit there and try to save somebody that tells you that they're a damn fool. You don't sit here and delude yourself into something that's just not the case. It is the case. He didn't believe first that he couldn't get him. No, he had it shown to him numerous times. So that's not illogical. And I know this is something, Don, that you can't understand. Being a Tyrone yourself, you've never experienced black women dog you off for basically no fucking reason. You've never experienced it. You're here gaslighting this guy on things that you don't have any experience with. And you don't even make the attempt to understand. And you guys, like a lot of black folks will levy this at white people too. That white people don't take the time to understand black issues, which is true. Which is true. But at the same time, white people don't have to. That's what you don't realize. They often don't have to. They don't feel like they have to, at least definitely not. And so you're doing the same thing that white people do to black people. You're doing the same thing with this young man, where you're saying that, oh, you didn't like her first, so they don't like you, or you're not going to get her because you think this way. You think the law of attraction is a real thing. That it's not a real thing. That is a thoroughly debunked pseudoscience scammer tactic, pretty much. Like, that was invented by a scammer named Napoleon Hill, dude. He was a scam artist. That is a fake, made-up concept. That is a gaslight of the highest order. You're doing the same thing to this young man. You're calling him whitewashed. You're calling him this. You're calling him that. You're believing that he has this anti-blackness in him, which is not at all the case. You're doing the same thing to him that white people do to black people, where they say, oh, you're just lazy. You don't want to work hard. You don't want to achieve. When it's like, no, we have things set up a certain way in this country that doesn't benefit us most of the time. And so this just is how it's going to play out. And you don't want to take the time to understand that. You don't want to take the time to understand that some black men, or maybe even some black women, are going to struggle with this culture that we've constructed in the black community. You see there? You see the hypocrisy here? You see the injustice here? I don't like it. And this is exactly why I'm making this fucking video, to call out dumb hypocrisy like this. This final point that I'm going to end this video on, point number 9. He claims that you don't have to act hood to fit in with black culture, where that is absolutely, clearly, and obviously the case. Look at what's on BET. Look at what's on the TV. Look at all the prominent black people in the black community. It's got a lot of money, most of them at least. They're all entertainers, and Dion didn't even refute this himself on his own video, by the way. He admitted it. Most of our prominent members are entertainers. They are ball players. They are rappers. They are these types of people. So you don't even refute this even on your own. What do most of these ball players and entertainers do, Dion? They have a hood mentality. They talk street. They talk hood. They use the slang. Now, it's dubious as to whether or not they go further than that. But the point is, most black people that are prominent in the black community, and even outside of the black community a lot of the time, they present a certain way, and that certain way is hood culture. It is thug max culture. Even if they're not about that life for real, they're going to at least make that image out there. They're going to put that image out there. This is what it is. So you're being very disingenuous and dishonest to say that this is not black culture, because it absolutely is. There's other parts of it too, but those parts get pushed by the wayside most of the time. Most of the time, when you say black culture, this is what you're referring to. Everybody knows it. You know it. You even admitted it to it in your own video. This is what it is. That's very disingenuous. That's very dishonest. I'm not going to let you get away with that. That is what it is. So, with that being said, I think I've covered all the points that I have so far. And keep in mind, this is only half of the video, but if you made it to this point of the video, you can see just how much gaslighting went on in this video, guys. Like, Don reacts with it, whatever the fuck his name is. Like, he clearly does not understand the struggle. He even admitted it in this video that he doesn't understand. He doesn't relate. So, this guy, he attracted a bunch of reactors just like this that are just going to gaslight him and just going to put a bunch of lies in your head about this shit. Guys, black folks got a ton of fucking issues. That's irrefutable. One of those big issues, and the reason why we can't get ahead as a group, is because a lot of black people feel like if you don't fit this exact mold of being a hood street nigga, which don't make no sense at all, by the way. A lot of black folks feel like if you lame, if you a cornball, if you weird, if you don't wear certain brands, if you don't do this and that, even if you don't just put the image out there, like they feel like if you're not like this, that you got to be ostracized, that you got to get treated worse than they will ever treat a white person. Like, dude, black people, really, if you analyze what they actually do, what we actually do as a group, we got way more smoke for the people among us that are just weird than we ever do for white people that hate us, than we ever do for racist people, like genuinely anti-black people of other races. We got more smoke for our own just for being weird than we ever do for legit racist motherfuckers. And you tell me that is a fucking issue. I think it's a fucking issue. You should think it's a fucking issue. That is an issue in the black community. I'm not an Uncle Ruckus. I'm not a sellout. I'm not a coon. Especially since this year began, where I've started to see a lot of the truth behind the whole white conservative mega type, especially, like, I get it now. I understand, like, but now all that's going to force me to do is to come at it in a real way and say, okay, black folks, y'all got some issues. Y'all really need to address this. This don't make no sense. Y'all shouldn't be this way. The culture needs to stop demonizing black individuals who ain't exactly fitting in with this narrow range of stuff that doesn't necessarily at all have to be the full range of what it means to be black. That's what I'm ultimately saying. But this Don Rex guy, nah, this guy ain't it, man. Like, just because he pretty, just because he get girls, just because girls like him, just because he make girls pussy wet, just because of all these things, he's going to get listened to far more than a guy like me. Which is, again, another issue in the black community that should not be the case. Guys, the black community has this issue. We're the only community that really has this issue like this. It's weird. I've always felt that it was weird. It's strange, dude. Like, every other group of people, once you tell them anything at all about this stuff, they're going to be like, what the fuck? You know, they don't expect it. It's like we're doing far more damage to our own. Like I said numerous times already, that's the problem in the black community. That's why young men like Sloth feel the way he does. It's not because of nothing he did specifically. It's because of how he was treated. And with that being said, if you take anything away from this video, if you're one of these black people that has always fitted in, you need to start taking the time to actually, like, realize, like, just because this black man over here is a little bit different, don't mean you got to be dogging him the fuck out, because at the end of the day, that ain't doing you no hella good, and that's really not doing him no good either. Okay? And it's mostly men, but it's not just men, but it's some women that fit into this category too. So I'm going to go ahead, cut the video here. Please like, share, subscribe. This has been Emperor Dion the Lion, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.